So welcome to Talking Tuesdays with the Starch Queens. I'm Jeanne Schumacher. I'm the Starch Queen of Diamonds, and my partner, Nancy Matthews, she's the Queen of Hearts. And together, we're the Starch Queens. And our lifestyle and weight loss program is online. This is where we provide coaching, recipes, and educational program. And this is going to help everybody to find weight loss success and healing. And you can find our program at www.sqweightloss.com. One of the things we talk about in our program is called the trifecta approach. And that's basically where you have to change what goes in. So that's the food and drink. But you also have to change what goes on the body. So, and then of course, exercise. So tonight we're going to be talking about toxic beauty ingredients. We're also going to we have questions from Starch Queens member Fran Batzer, who she wants to know what apps do we use and have we tracked our micronutrients? Is it worth our time or worth your time to do a daily food log? We're going to talk about GMOs tonight, inflammation, and I thought this was a really good one. Best foods to improve sexual function. So that is on our agenda tonight. So, Nancy, how you doing?
I'm good, Jeanne. How are you? How's your week been?
My week has been great. Spectacular.
Awesome. Fantastic. Mine has been as well. I'm really glad that we're back here on Talking Tuesday. It's been a week, and it's always so much fun to get together and talk about all the things that are important to a healthy lifestyle. And of course, our trifecta approach to a healthy lifestyle. And here we are. Fantastic.
All right. Well, I see Chris has joined us tonight. So welcome, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Chris. So let's start with, what apps do you use?
So for me, I have on my phone, ta-da, the good old Apple iPhone smartphone. I had never really, when I first started my plant-based journey, I never really did the journaling. The journaling wasn't real important to me. And it's like something that is like, oh, do I do it? Do I not do it? It was just like one more thing. So I found through a gym that I belonged to that everybody was using MyFitnessPal. And MyFitnessPal was a great way to sync my fitness achievements, then also to see what the nutritional input I had during the day, and then, see how many calories I've burned, and then look at the metrics, looking at the macronutrients. So MyFitnessPal really looks at the fat, the carbs, the protein, and then it also looks at the calorie, and it has this huge database of all kinds of food.
How long did you keep that up?
So I did it only during what was called the boot camps, because it was kind of a requirement at the gym I was going to. And MyFitnessPal works really well. It syncs up with like Garmin's, Apple Watch, Fitbit, so you can really see what you're doing in a day and a week and a month. So by choice, I think MyFitnessPal, for what it provides to you as far as measurement with macronutrients and micronutrients, that has a free version, and then there's a paid for version. So the free version, of course, you get the advertisements, and I really liked it. It was really surprising to see, even when I'm whole food plant-based, that there's so much protein in all plants.
Right?
There's fat, the good for you fat in all plants. I mean, I can have a salad and it's like, wait, where would that fat come from? But it's like what Dr. Furman says, there's the right amount of macronutrients in all plant food. So I thought it was great. And then I also put on my phone recently, because somebody was mentioning about the chronometer, maybe that's how it's pronounced. Same thing. It does a great job measuring the macro and micronutrients, and it links up again with the same smart watches and smartphones apps, and it gives you measurements. Now, we know in a plant-based diet, we don't always need to know what sorry, but my dog he just lost his collar. It's like, what happened there? So we don't need to.
Is he losing weight?
Must be. He is vegan after all. So just had a non-scale victory there, Deacon. So, we don't have to know to the millimeter, the micro to within 1 gram if our protein is spot on. It's good to check what you're doing maybe once in a while to see if the foods, because, we're all creatures of habit, Jeanne. We usually, they say we all eat like 10 or 12 of the same meals over and over. So just check yourself.
I did, but you know what, and I used, I don't know if it was that exact same app, but I can't remember which one I used for a while. But one thing that I really was annoying is like you had to break down the recipes, like,
you do.
And you had to, and it took a lot of time. Once you got the recipe in, it took a lot of time to like say, okay, I had 1/6 of this whole recipe that has this, and this in it. And then I had 1/6 of that portion. That took a lot of time. And it was pretty annoying because, the average person is not going to be eating this kind of way. And they're going to be getting, Wonder Slice bread, and putting that in. And that's already in there. So that I found that tough and very tedious, especially because I make a lot of my stuff and nothing I make the same twice. So,
And that's exactly what happened with me, because when I committed to doing those boot camps, it was, okay, I'm going to put my recipes in. And I found myself, it's like, I'm going to eat the soup that it's already got the recipe in MyFitnessPal. So I don't have to go in and put all the measurements and all of the quantities. It's like, once it's in, it's fine. But it's like you're building a database.
I know. And it took me a long time to do that. And I was getting annoyed after a while. And I think they didn't have a very good way to break it apart, like to say, once you had a recipe, I don't know if it was the same app that we're talking about, and I had since made, notices to them to say, hey, you need to be able to break this up. Once I create a recipe, I need to say 1/6 of this, I don't know, soup or whatever it was. But what other apps?
So that's it for me. I only have MyFitnessPal.
No, you don't. No. I'm sure you have. There's an app for McDougall, Forks Over Knives.
Oh, I was thinking of just food logging. Yeah, okay. So I have Forks Over Knives, McDougall. Mm-hmm. And there's the Forks Over Knives right there. So I'll hold it up for people to see. It works wonderful. It breaks it down by the meal. So like there's soups and salads, then there's pasta and noodles. And you just click on it and you just get so many good recipes. I believe it was $4.99 for the app. And then here's the McDougall one. Same thing, $4.99, worth every cent. And I love it because they will actually make grocery lists for you. Then it's just, these are wonderful apps. Very good apps.
Well, and I also like you can type in like eggplant, and it'll come up with 5 recipes for an eggplant. Like you're in the grocery store and it's like, I need something for dinner tonight, and there's a beautiful eggplant that's on sale. There's 5 recipes, that have eggplant in it. And that, I love that. I love having that right at my fingertips. So I really like those 2 apps. One app that I really like, and we're going to be talking a little bit later in the show tonight about this, is the EWG, environmentalworkinggroup.org.
Got it.
App called Healthy Living. It's free. I like free. And in this database, you can go through and take a picture of a barcode of, like, say, personal care products. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this later on. But it'll give you a rating. And then it goes through and breaks it down how, if it's going to be an issue to your health or not. So, because we talk a lot about that in the trifecta approach.
Right. So it's so powerful to have all of that database at your fingertips. You know, I found myself, I was at the grocery store over the weekend and there was some questionable things that I was like, well, I'm going to check it with EWG. I'm going to scan it with that. Oh, and that's the other thing about MyFitnessPal and Chronometer is they both have the scan feature. They have the barcode reader. And the other app that I like a lot, I use when I'm out of town, is Happy Cow. Happy Cow. Gives you locations where there's vegan food. And then the other one that I liked was Is It Vegan? It's another barcode scanner, and it's called Is It Vegan? And it'll just take really complicated processed foods, and then you can just click it, and it'll just go through their database and say, oh, nope, sorry, there's honey in it, or there's some whey protein isolate in it, so technically it's not vegan. So you can just, instead of reading through the list of, like I said this morning in our educational program, if there's more than 5 ingredients, just back on the shelf. Back on the shelf.
Well, Fran, hi, Fran. Fran was saying it might keep you eating simple foods, whole foods, in calculating the apps. Yeah, but that's true, Fran. True. Yeah, but when you make a recipe like soup, like I made split pea soup this week. I mean, I could see myself going through and going, okay, 9 carrots. Okay, what is that? I mean, it makes me crazy, but it does. I did like it to see overall, like you said. I mean, first of all, when you look at how much protein you're getting, you're like, really? I mean, seriously. And then the fat, I mean, and all the fat that you're getting. I mean, because there's 3 basic macronutrients. There's carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Boom, and you get to see that right away. So, and Debbie's on with us tonight. Hi, Debbie. And
Hi,
Kathy
Debbie.
Cross is on. So, hi Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. So, hi, Debbie. Good to see you. Teresa's joining us. Debbie Osborne, Debbie Lewis. She's also in our Starch Queens program. Always happy to see Debbie and Fran and everybody else from the program. So that was a great question. And there's a lot of technology out there now. And I always just chalk it up to, what is it that you're going to get out of it? Is it worth the big bang for the buck? Is it something you're going to do, or is it an impulse purchase? Because I am totally guilty of, it's like, hey, what do you got? What do you got? What new shiny new toy do you have? I want to do it. I want to do it. Sign me up. Sign me up. And it's like, I do it. And then it's like, okay, this is not something I want to spend my time doing. Because I already know all of this. And, it's not like I'm trying to say I know what everything there is, because there's always, we learn every day. But a lot of it is repetitive, because I don't eat a large variety of food. So when I'm putting potatoes, rice, beans, a lot of the same vegetables in every day, I'm getting the same results.
I know. And I mean, I look at the pictures of, I post pictures. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter, and I post the pictures of what's in my cooler today. And it's like, and I feel like sometimes, people might be asking, is she just reposting the same picture?
I know.
Because it's like the same food.
Well, I know. I've actually done that too. I've like, has Jeanne not gone shopping for 3 months because the food looks the same?
I'm just a creature of habit too.
Yeah, so. And that's not a bad thing, because what's one of the things, like, if you're new to this lifestyle, if you're uncertain and you're not trusting your choices, then by all means use the free version. Put everything in there. It's an educational experience, and that's something that's totally Starch Queen approved. We want you to educate yourself. And so, don't get completely OCD in it and say, well, I didn't get 1 gram of, 1 extra bean of protein today, or I didn't get all of my, fat, or my, the sugar. That's the other thing that's pretty interesting with my Fitness Pal is the sugar. And where that darn sugar is in everything. And so, those are the things that are eye-opening. So the education side of it, absolutely supported 100%. Don't invest in it if you're not going to use it. And just try the free first. Do the free version first.
Well, and that's what, Fran was asking, is it worth the time it takes to log daily food? And, that was her question on, originally on deck. And in the beginning, I think so, especially if, like, both you and I coach people. And that's one of the things that I will do is I will set up a Google Doc, and we're gonna there's no judgments, but we're gonna go through, and you have to be honest, and put in what you're eating, and then we'll go through and say, is this a good choice, and is this a bad choice? I mean, and obviously the ones already, and I don't, you don't yell, I don't yell, but we just say, hey, this is a choice you're making, and what do you think this is going to do to your health? And so I think, in that case, just keeping like almost like a food journal, in that case, it's very, very helpful to see, and especially if you can do it in one of those apps. But I just found, just keeping a simple food journal and just writing, split pea soup. I know it's in split pea soup for the most part, when I make it.
Yep. There's apps. I mean, we all have our, our camera here. I think I have almost 10,000 pictures on this phone now. And it's like, whenever I'm like sitting at the airport, or, we're someplace where you just have to sit, I'll go through and delete hundreds of pictures of food. So I'll just literally take a picture of my food. Even Nick, last week he was saying, oh, you're taking a picture of what you're eating again. It's like, well, that's kind of the easiest way to log your food, because somebody might say, what did you have to eat today? And I'll just go, oh, well, let me just look at my picture here. I've got, 10,000 pictures of my food. So I've got a pretty good journal going on here. So
it's true. It's true. And I think also taking the pictures helps you to be compliant. because you're posting the pictures in front of, other people, and they're like,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah. My coworkers at work, they're like, oh, Nancy's got a, salad big enough a cow would like, and she's taking a picture of it again. It looks the same as yesterday.
I know. First thing in the morning, as soon as I get to school, I'll take out all the stuff out of my cooler and I'll put it on the table and I'll take a picture of it. And invariably, I'll have kids coming in, because there'll be some kids who come early, and they're coming into class like, why is she taking a picture of her food?
I know. It's like, who would have thought 20 years ago? People would have thought, unless of course you're a photographer for Gourmet Magazine or something. But it's like now everybody takes pictures of their food, but that's not a bad thing, I don't think. So
no, it's good. All right.
Great question, Fran. Great question.
Absolutely. Those are some good ones. I want to switch over to something that has been a topic. It's bothered me a lot. I mean, the GMOs. And so this comes from the information that we're talking about tonight comes from an article I found on nutritionfacts.org. I just love nutrition facts. I just going to say, I mean,
how can you just not love nutritionfacts.org? I mean, and Dr. Greger, he is amazing.
And he's just like that in real life. I got to meet him at Plant Stock. We were staying across the street. This is when it was still at the farm. And he was staying in the same place that we were. And he was getting ready to leave. It was like Sunday morning. And he was up, like, we were leaving at like 6:30 to go across. And he comes strolling out. So we're like, yeah, forget it. We're going over there. We spent like a half an hour talking to him. It was great. He was awesome.
Did you hear about his elderberry experience?
No.
Elderberries are poisonous.
No.
And he grew elderberries, and in his yard, and he went out and got a couple big, handfuls of them and put them in his, Dr. Greger loves his green smoothies. And he was sitting at his computer and he started foaming at the mouth, and he realized that he didn't cook the elderberries and he poisoned himself. So yeah, he said, I was envisioning my tombstone saying, "How not to die."
Oh, no, that was bad.
I know. So tip for tonight: if you have elderberries, please cook them.
Good to know. Thank you for that tip. Thank you, Dr. Greger, for sharing that.
Dr. Greger, for putting yourself out there.
Yeah. No, seriously, that was kind of an oops. I don't know if I'd admit to that one.
Yeah.
But well, in this article that he's talking about GMOs, and I'll post the link down below. But he said that they found in a GMO crop in protein in people, they detected it in 93% of the blood samples from pregnant women, and 80% from umbilical cord blood, and 69% from non-pregnant women, that they found this protein in question is in an insecticide produced by, it's called Bt bacteria. This gene was inserted into the DNA of corn to create, they call it Bt corn, okay? So and now this corn is being incorporated into animal feed. So how did it end up into the women and into their fetuses, okay? Is it because they were eating, they're being exposed to contaminated meat, that the animals ate this, and then they're eating the animals to this. So yep. You've also got Monsanto's Roundup Ready. This is the number one crop for soybean, right? And this is engineered resistance to herbicide Roundup, which is, sold by Monsanto. And this allows the farmers to spray the crops to kill the weeds, but leave the soy standing. So it kills everything else around this, right?
Right.
So they tested this on the human placenta tissue. And they found that at the concentration that they spray it on, the crops, the amount of pesticides they did, that this did indeed have toxic effects on human tissues. So then the question becomes, should we eat, the soy products or not? But if you're eating, organic soybeans, then by definition, that's not going to have, the genetically modified organisms in it. So, right. So I just wanted to get that out there. But they did find this out. So that is kind of disturbing.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. It's really interesting on the Bt toxin, how since this was put into our food supply, and these, the farmers in the Midwest and the grain belt, as we'll call it, is growing their corn, their wheat, their soy, and they're using the required Monsanto seed. And then all of a sudden, a few years goes by and we have this spike in irritable bowel syndrome. And of course, the toxin that is germinated into the seed, the toxin, it's designed to rip and shred the intestines of the insecticide, and that's how it kills it. So coincidentally, IBS, intestinal issues, is one of the big issues with people. They think they're gluten intolerant when in fact they're most likely Roundup intolerant. So I always say, when people, if they say, oh, I have gluten intolerance, I say, have you had a test? Have you had the biopsy? Have you had the blood test? Have you talked to your doctor? And if it's no, then I always say you need to do that first. And then while you're waiting to see the doctor, throw out all of your grains that are not organic, all of your bread that's not organic, and replace that with organic, and see how you do before you go to the doctor. And I've had more than several people say that I have helped coach say, well, wow, you were right. All my stomach issues are gone. So that's pretty powerful.
It
pretty
is
powerful. Pretty scary is what it is. It's pretty scary.
I just got to jump in because I saw Frances when I was snickering about. She said, I got to meet Dr. Greger and I told him I'd take him to bed every night. And his response was, and I put you to sleep. I can just hear him saying it too.
I know. I can just see him say that. And I put you to sleep too.
Just how he would end like his videos,
Yeah. I know. I can totally see it. That's hilarious, Fran. That's awesome.
Great. That was great.
I know. Hey, real quick, Jamie, before we go to the next one on our agenda list, Jamie, I don't want to murder your last name, Jamie. I'm going to say Rice.
Rise,
Rise, R-I-E-S, Rice. So Jamie asks, what is your go-to dessert? So that's kind of a loaded question, Jamie, because there is variations of dessert in a plant-based lifestyle. So if it is Thanksgiving, the 1 or 2 times a year, maybe Christmas, that I'll have a higher calorically dense food, because I'm still in weight loss mode. I still want to lose another 10 to 15 pounds. So I'm still conscious of the amount of daily fat and calories that I consume. So I'll have, and I absolutely love Drina Burton's pumpkin pie recipe, and the crust, there's some nuts in it. It's just phenomenal. Then of course you get more higher fat because you use tofu for the pumpkin, and it's absolutely delicious. So Drina Burton's pumpkin pie recipe is delicious. And for my dessert all the rest of the time during the year, I really, truly just love fresh fruit. Then I also love nice cream. Nice cream is mine and Nick will have that several times throughout the month. We freeze the bananas. We'll make sorbet. Nick will put some walnuts on his, because he's really not in weight loss mode anymore. You can just really build upon nice cream with many different variations. You can put fresh fruit in there. You can put some toasted oatmeal. So I think that's a really good base, is a nice cream that you can make. A really good way to do it. Frozen bananas, they have a Yonana machine that's like $40 or $50 at Bed Bath & Beyond. Then, of course, the Vitamix, which is the creme de la creme of making nice cream. Then if you have a Champion juicer, you can also put frozen bananas down into the juicer, and then it has the masticating blade, and then you want to remove that. And then, I can't remember, I haven't done it so long with the Champion, but then it extrudes the really nice texture, very similar to ice cream. It's like soft serve. I was busy on a coaching call the night before last. Nick made some, and he put mine in the freezer, and I forgot about it. And I got busy and I went to bed. The next night, we enjoyed it, and it was more firm. It was a little, not like ice cream, but it was still a wonderful consistency. How about, I know Jeanne's got an amazing dessert she loves, her chocolate peanut butter pie, and then her go-to dessert is also excellent.
Okay. And I'll take it away on that one.
And it's all yours. I was trying to think of the name of it from when we were in Cape Cod, and it was just not coming to me.
Okay, well, anyway, the chocolate peanut butter pie is it's what I take to the carnivores, and they've come to learn, and every time they see that, they suck it down without question. And I've taken it to the next level by putting a layer of chocolate on top, like drizzling dark chocolate on top of that. Yeah, what's not to love? But you can't have chocolate, so you won't know that. Anyway, but while I'm in weight loss mode, out of sheer desperation, one night I wanted a cookie so bad. And all I had, because there's nothing in my house. So what I did is I mashed up a banana, and I put some pumpkin pie spices, a little bit of vanilla extract or maple extract, and added like a half a cup of oats and mashed it together. And then I made them into little balls, little tiny ones, like about the size of a golf ball. And I put them into the air fryer. Oh, wow. That was so good.
So good. I've made them. I mean, they're grandson approved too. Logan just loves them, and they're just phenomenal. And talk about 3 ingredients with a few seasonings that you would like. I mean, it's so easy.
Well, and if you're not in weight loss mode, those little mini vegan chocolate chips, the little tiny ones, you put like a tablespoon in the whole batter. I mean, for the whole batter, but it just adds, like it takes it to Jedi level, to that. Or you can put I've tried putting like a big blueberry, in the middle of one. And that's even nicer because when you bite into it, the juice just explodes. And it's fantastic. It really is. So
one other thing that I did, Jeanne, with the recipe is I just sprinkled some of my carob powder in the banana as I was smashing it because I'm allergic to chocolate. So the carob powder just gave it a real nice caroby flavor, and that was delicious.
Oh, that sounds good too.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I created, again, out of sheer desperation, because I normally like to have berries every day. And this day I ran out of fresh berries, and that's like become my new crack, I usually I have a dish every day, and I put mixed berries. So and I usually make them for at least 2 days because they go bad very quickly. And I ran out of berries, and I couldn't get to the store because I had, meetings after school, whatever. And so I went down to the freezer, and I pulled out, and I had frozen blueberries, I had frozen raspberries, I had frozen whatever. And I just put a bunch of them into a container and let them sit in the refrigerator so they defrosted. And then I put on top of it like a 1/4 cup of oatmeal. And just the raw oatmeal, not the steel cut oats, but just the raw oatmeal, just, the old fashioned, organic. I get the Bob's, Red Mill, whatever, organic, the big flakes. I like the big thick ones. And I just put that on there. And as the berries defrosted, they released a lot of juice. The juice was absorbed, and I stirred in the oats. It sucked up the juice. And then as I tasted, I went, this needs just a little bit of something. So I took a lemon and I zested it on top. Oh my God, Jedi level. I mean, it was like, it made the flavors, especially the wild blueberries, just go pow. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Yeah, absolutely.
I have one more. And since I'm in California, it's stone fruit season. So we're getting on the tail end of it. But grilled peaches, if you're plant-based and you're not using your grill a lot, I like to take peaches and slice them, put them on your grill and grill them until you get the grill marks and they get real warm, and then take them off the grill, and then take some slivered almonds, put on them with some balsamic vinegar, a good balsamic vinegar. We like the Napa Naturals Grand Reserve 4% balsamic vinegar. Unbelievable. It is such a great dessert.
Well, Fran, and she's got the new panini press or whatever it is. It's got the ridges in it. She put some peaches in there with oatmeal, and oh my God, that looked fabulous. Oh my God.
That
looked just amazing.
Yeah, really good. Really good. So great question, Jamie. Thank you. So Jeanne, what's next up on our questions on our agenda?
Tonight, another one is inflammation, because I think a lot of us are dealing with inflammation all the time in our bodies, and it's chronic inflammation without question. And if you look at the standard American diet, I mean, let's just talk, it's, the standard American diet is going to be rich in processed foods, junk, meat, dairy, and this is going to cause huge spikes in your sugar and the fat in your blood. Okay. So this is going to generate the free radicals. This is the electrons. They have an unshared pair of electrons for those of you who are out there that know this kind of stuff. And this is going to create, it's a biochemical cascade that just takes place. It's going to have an impact on your circulation. It's going to damage like the proteins that are going to be in your bodies. It's going to induce inflammation without question. This is going to cause crippling within our arteries and the functions within our arteries. It's going to cause a thickening. It's almost like our blood becomes like sludge, okay? And this is just within, a short time after eating. Like my husband, I pack his food and he takes it into work. But his coworker is, pretty, relatively young, probably in late 20s, right? Whatever. And he's eating, and he goes out and eats. And he doesn't bring his food, he eats out almost every day. And it's processed, and it's fast food a lot of times. And my husband will be sitting there like about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and his coworker's over there going, I don't feel good. And that's like the endothelial cells just going slamming shut,
Yeah, actually just coming to a dead, a dead halt. I mean, it's just, it really just slows down the velocity of your blood flow.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like huge. And they've shown that the inflammation it can play a major role in premature aging, periodontal disease, obesity, skin aging, diabetes, multiple sclerosis, cancer, irritable bowel syndrome. And then there's the inflammatory bowel diseases, like, for example, Crohn's disease, and then there's other kind of chronic health issues. So an antioxidant-rich diet is going to protect against stroke by preventing the circulation of oxidized fats in your bloodstream. And that's what's going to damage the sensitive walls, the endothelial, and the small blood vessels, the small blood vessels that's going up. That's going to the brain, that's what's going up there sometimes, But if we can, just by reversing that, and sometimes it makes me crazy, because like, I think I shared this with you, my brother was sitting there making these a big deal about the fuel that he's putting into his car.
Yeah, you told us that story. That's a good one.
I know. And I turned around and looked at him and said, you're putting this fuel, spending so much time putting the right exact fuel into this car to make this engine run right. And then you're putting the wrong fuel. And he just looked at me, don't go there. And I'm like, really?
Yeah. And that's unfortunately, when you're talking inflammation, a lot of unsuspecting, people in our country don't know what causes inflammation, and that, sugar is a huge factor in joint inflammation and just overall chronic inflammation. And like my mom with her poor arthritic hands and joints from having osteo and rheumatoid arthritis, sugar was a big thing. And of course, I was actually listening to today, while I was getting ready for work, a panel conference from the Hippocrates Health Center in Florida. And they were actually talking about sugar. And they were, this huge, probably 25 minutes of the 2-hour interview was dedicated to the damaging effects and the inflammation in the body that sugar causes, joints. And then like what you were talking about, people don't think that sugar can cause heart disease, and they don't think that sugar causes fat. Well, what happened in the 70s when there was the big hoopla about removing fat from processed food? They replaced it with sugar. Right. And so, like the doctor was talking about in this panel interview this morning when I was listening to it, was that we are all sugar addicts. Unbeknownst to everybody, because of the amount of sugar that's put in processed foods, they become physiologically addicted to it. We'll say chemically addicted to it.
Right.
And so people, it affects your mood, it affects your decisions, it affects your food choices. It's so controlling. It's very controlling, and it's very damaging, and it causes you to gain weight. People say, oh, sugar is only 10 calories a teaspoon. Well, that little 10 calories a teaspoon comes at a very big cost to your physical health.
Right. Well, then, I mean, so we talk about the antioxidants, and that's basically, you're talking about berries, you're talking about, the leafy greens, all these things that are going to help to lower the blood pressure. It's going to help to lower the inflammation. These are going to cause the inflammation to really go down a tremendous amount. And there's different ones. Like, for example, if you were to eat like I was saying, the leafy greens and the berries versus something like bananas and lettuce, some like that basic lettuce. What is that lettuce called? The iceberg.
Iceberg. Oh yeah, that's just water.
I know. So like if you're eating like iceberg, or something that's not going to have as high nutrient value, something like that, or bananas are not as high in antioxidants. But if you look at some of the leafy greens, berries, things like that, those are like chock full. So those are going to be you're going to get a better bang for your buck in terms of reducing inflammation and reducing the pain. And they've also shown that you can use cherries. Cherries have been shown to help, the uric acid for people with gout.
Yep.
So
those are the tart, not that it's pretty specific from my understanding. It should be the tart cherries.
Yes, not the sweet
tart
ones.
cherries, right? Yeah. Not the sweet ones. I like
all cherries. Not those cherries that come in the bottle. They're like dyed red. The maraschino.
I was just going to say the maraschino cherries that I mean, back in the day when my kids were little, I'm trying to remember. Oh, we would order them. I was terrible parents, terrible parents. But we would go out to a nice place for dinner, and they would get their Shirley Temples, which was all grenadine, pure sugar. And then we would say, oh, our girls love maraschino cherries. So they would like put 12 maraschino cherries in their Shirley Temple. I mean, it's like, I no wonder why my kids would not go to sleep at night. They were always like crabby. They just little sugar addicts.
Yeah. Well, studies have shown that consuming more fruits and vegetables can halt the progression of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. So this is like emphysema. This is like chronic bronchitis. Things like that, where you're having this narrowing of lung function, and it's basically due to the inflammation that you're getting. So, and also people that are suffering from asthma, allergies like that, it can be cut in half by eating 2 or more servings of vegetables or fruits a day. And then mental health. This is another one, because this arachidonic acid,
So say that again, arachidonic acid.
Right.
Okay.
So this is blamed for potentially impairing the mood by inflaming the brain. The top 5 sources of this compound: chicken, eggs, beef, pork, fish. Boom, animal products. And chicken and eggs together contribute more than all the others together.
Right.
And that's what we've been told, stay off the beef and go for the chicken, eat the chicken.
Right.
Anyway, so people with this higher level of acid in their blood are going to have they've noticed people with that high level of acid in their system are at higher risk for suicide and major depression. Okay.
Yep.
So, and eating the standard American diet gives you 9 times more of this acid than people eating plant-based.
So let's put that into perspective. 9 times.
9 times. 9.
So that's huge.
I know.
When you think about what's the most popular diet going on right now that's not plant-based?
I know, it's the paleo.
Starts with a K.
Oh, the keto.
Keto diet. Yeah. So we are, we've got this misinformation, this rebranding of the Atkins diet, where the keto dieters are having a huge, their intake of meat. The keto isn't so much on the dairy. Well, the paleo, they kind of leave out the dairy, but meat causes inflammation. And so they're losing weight, but it's coming at a cost inside the body. I mean, sure, we need to take the vanity away from how fast we're losing weight. Because I mean, a lot of people just drop weight, boom, on a whole food plant-based lifestyle. And there's a lot of factors that contribute to that: age, activity, male, female, postmenopausal.
I know. That is just not fair that the men just drop it like nothing.
My husband can say, I'm going to just lose 5 pounds. He wakes up the next morning, he's lost 7. And it's like, just go away, and so it's different for everybody. But what we're doing is we're healing our body with a plant-based lifestyle. And that's coming at not at a cost. That is a great thing,
Oh,
because we're
absolutely.
prolonging our life. And our joints aren't hurting. So I feel really bad when I hear people say they're doing the keto diet, because I know what's going on inside their body, this inflammation,
Yes, I know.
the what's happening within the endothelial layer of their cells. I just like, I'm such an empath. It's like, I just want to say, no, no more.
I know.
You got to look at the inside of your body. I mean, I think everybody should watch that documentary on that autopsy of the lady in
Oh my
England.
God, wasn't that intense?
It was just disgusting. The heart was just a blob. It was ridiculous. I mean, it's like, gosh, it's like never again would
Well, and just to see how much fat is trapped around the organs. I
Oh,
mean,
that was just, it was, what it was, it was just what the lady who donated her body, she served the purpose. It was a visual to see for everybody what
huge.
visceral fat looks like, what white fat looks like around your body. And the most compelling thing to me was the liver and the heart, because your heart should be firm. It should, be like a fist. It should be a muscle. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
But hers was just flaccid. And this is what's happening. So I think I see these people, they're buying all the meat and all of this. And it's like, now I visualize that lady laying there on the autopsy table with her flaccid heart and her 5 times big liver, with the fatty liver streaks through it, and it's just heartbreaking. So anyway, I could go on forever. We need to focus here. So
But what bothered me the most, I mean, I could handle, because I've seen autopsies before, and I've, that didn't bother me. What bothered me the most was the people that were talking about it. Most all the medical doctors and the people that were describing what was going on, they were all morbidly obese.
They were all overweight.
And they were all talking about like this as if this was just towards focusing on this woman. And it's like, dude, this isn't you too.
Yeah.
And it's like there was no connection to this person on the table.
Right.
That this is happening in your body too.
Right. So it's really unfortunate, but that's why we're here tonight, the Starch Queens, so that we can raise awareness. We ask all of you who are tuning in tonight, share this on your Facebook page so that we can spread the word, and maybe it'll resonate with you. I mean, you're here because you're already health conscious. So by sharing it on your page, it might be something that somebody else might be able to scroll through and listen to, and they're going to think, oh, maybe I should watch that documentary on, see what a fatty liver looks like, and think about things like sugar and inflammation. So, that's amazing. So the next topic, the gentlemen will be interested in listening to, and the ladies, because, erectile dysfunction is a serious issue. And of course, our pharmaceutical company wants you to spend money and take that little blue pill, blue or purple, blue pill. The purple one's for I was going to tell you, after Carl's having lunch, one of the things they pass around at where I work after lunch is the big Costco size bottle of Tums. They go through them like, candy. They eat their lunch, they pop their Tums for the antacid.
My gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, the good news is that erectile dysfunction is something that can, just like heart disease, be improved with a whole food plant-based lifestyle. And Dr. Jeanne Schumacher is going to give us some pointers and information on that very topic.
So what are some of the best foods to help improve sexual function? Well, when you talk about that, I mean, obviously the go-tos: exercise, quit smoking, don't drink too much, don't weigh too much, and have a healthy diet. But what does that mean, a healthy diet? Because it's funny, when I start talking about a healthy diet, people's definition is very different than mine, completely. Right. What does that mean, a healthy diet? Well, because they've talked about, there was a study, it was in sexual function in women was significantly affected by the atherosclerotic narrowing of the blood flow through the arteries, which includes the blood supply to the pelvis. So I thought that was really interesting. And it's, basically saying that high cholesterol is going to mean lower arousal, orgasm, lubrication, and satisfaction. So, and that's the same was happening with people with high blood pressure. So they found improvements in female sexual function index scores. I did not know that that was a thing. Did you?
No, I've never been indexed in that department, ma'am.
I never had heard that. I'm like,
I'm always game to try something new, though.
Right? So they did a study with men, and they found the same thing, that there was significant improvement in the index of erectile function scores. Didn't know that one either existed. So
it's a whole new world now, Jeanne. A whole new world.
It's a whole new world. But yes. Anyway, they did a large study on diet and erectile dysfunction, and then they found that for each additional daily serving of fruits or vegetables may reduce risk of erectile dysfunction by 10%.
That's huge.
What? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
seriously. That to me is just mind blowing.
Well, people don't really put two and two together, because when you see the little blue pill commercial, they don't tell you, oh, by the way, erectile dysfunction is because the main vessel that that
the flag your eyes.
I just went blank again. Come on, lack of blood flow up here for some reason. Erection is blocked with plaque and cholesterol, because our vascular system is all connected. There's like no vein that's not connected. If it was not connected, you'd bleed out and die. So that plaque is not centered just in your heart, where we're led to believe heart disease. Well, it needs to be not just cardiovascular disease, but vascular disease,
right,
as from head to toe, because we know the beta amyloid plaque that we can get in our brain all the way to the tip of our toes is everywhere we have veins is a potential landing spot for plaque. And when the gentlemen are trying to get an erection and there's blockage there, they got to take that little blue. I would look at the side effects of the little blue pill. Please. Especially if you're on high blood pressure medication. So
please look at that. And obviously talk to your doctor to see if this is something that you should be doing. Please don't just buy it, over the internet or something like that.
Right.
Do have a conversation with your doctor whether it's something that you should be able to do. And this goes back to, because what happens is then that causes the inflammation. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier with inflammation within the body. And
Right.
and it's all this role that just keeps building up and building up. So they found that there is, and we don't realize the level of inflammation that's in our body. And we think of this level of inflammation, because I remember when I went to my doctor and I wanted to have the C-reactive protein test done, and I said, I'd like to have it done in 6 months, and she said, why? And I said, because I'd like to see if it changes. And she's like, no, it won't change. Really? In my 25 plus years, I've never seen it change. Humor me, I'd like to have the test done anyway. And then we had this argument about insurance and whatever. Okay. But she had never seen it change. And she just assumes, like, once you get to this level that you're not going to change. Well, that's because people aren't changing, with their diet. They're continuing with the SAD diet, the standard American diet. But there's this pro-inflammatory signaling molecule in our bodies. It's called interleukin 18. And this is thought to play a role in destabilizing the atherosclerotic plaques. And as such, in the blood, this is a huge predictor of cardiovascular death. So this level, if you could measure this level of this molecule that within your bloodstream, it's going to tell you whether you're going to be suffering a cardiovascular death event relatively soon.
It's huge.
So they said they did a study where they fed 3 different types of meals, and then they measured it right afterwards. Okay. So they gave somebody sausage and egg, butter, olive oil sandwiches kind of thing. So that was one group. Another group got a cheeseless pizza with a white flour crust. And then the other group got the same cheeseless pizza, but with a whole wheat crust. So within hours of the group that was eating the sausage sandwich kind of thing, these interleukin 18 levels shot up 20%. This was not seen by the group that was eating the pizza, the cheeseless crust, but with the white crust. they didn't see this rise, but they didn't see it go down. But in the group that was eating the whole food, with the whole wheat, okay, they saw a drop of 20% in this level within hours. So this just goes back to reinforcing that a diet high in fiber, because that's going to help to push things along, and it's going to be low in saturated fats, and it's going to prevent the chronic diseases, especially the erectile dysfunction.
Yep. I think that's fantastic. I mean, the more that we're learning now is amazing. And I think everybody that has adopted a whole food plant-based lifestyle that has not had their C-reactive protein test done, it's something that you should ask your doctor about having done. My C-reactive protein was so low that my doctor giggled when she told me what it was. I don't even remember what it measured. It was like less than 1. So I have like no inflammation in my body whatsoever. And she tells her people in her practice that, you need to call Nancy of Plant-Based Chico, because what she's doing it right, because there's just no inflammation. And it can be done, because when I first started, I didn't have it done, but about 3 years into my journey, I think I was about a 2.5, and now it's barely even measurable. So it works. The whole food plant-based lifestyle truly reduces inflammation without any prescription medication.
Well,
I have no pain in my body whatsoever. And that's phenomenal for me, having had a grandmother who basically died of a heart attack that was from her rheumatoid arthritis and prolonged steroid use. My mom had rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. It's in my family. I thought for sure. And I also had the rheumatoid, that test where they can check for RA. I just knew I would be like them, crippled.
My mother had the finger.
I'm changing my, exactly.
Her finger was like this.
No, my mom's fingers were terribly deformed, and I'm changing my health destiny to not go on the same path that they took.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through the whole food plant-based lifestyle. You got to get that inflammation down. There's just so much chronic disease, not just erectile dysfunction or, a woman's inability to have sexual gratification through plugged vessels and arteries, but it is your day-to-day life. I mean, the pleasure of having, intimacy is wonderful, but I want to be able to get up out of a chair. I want to be able to go to work, and I want to be able to walk without pain. So for me, that's a non-scale victory every single day, that I don't live in pain and I don't walk down the path to having to take and be a customer of the pharmaceutical industry. And the power of plants will prevent that for you. And Jeanne, we only have a few more minutes left.
I know, but I just got to jump in. I got to jump in and say, my doctor, when I measured it, 6 months later, I had it, and it was high the first time, and then it came down. And her response was, it must have been a bad test the first time.
Oh, yeah.
She gave no credit to the diet at all. I mean, she has since changed her mind, but I'll never forget that. I will never forget her response.
She's probably not ever seen anybody like you.
No, this is true.
So she has she truly, her only assumption she could make was that it was a bad test, because she's never had a patient that's actually done what you've done with your diet, and you've changed the inside of your body. The outside of your body is obviously changed, but they don't really think that people can change the inside of their diet, because bad diets don't work. They don't work. You don't keep the weight off. You don't change the inside of your body, because you're still consuming Weight Watchers food. You're still you're buying the Jenny Craig. You're eating smaller portions of fat in the form of meat. You're having smaller portions of ice cream, but you're not changing the inside of your body. And that's where you need to change. That's what you need to think about, is improving your health.
Right.
The body composition will change when the inside heals.
Exactly. Well, and that's what she said to me. She put me on thyroid medication because my thyroid was starting to go. And when she, filled out the prescription, I'm like, how long do I have to take this? Because she'd filled like 4 refills. And I'm like, how long do I have to take this? She's like, forever. And I'm like, no. She's like, yeah, because your thyroid is starting to go, and you're going to need to produce, take this synthetic thyroid. And when I went off of that, because I healed my thyroid, I totally healed, and you did too. And she had never.
Gold stars for us. No more thyroid disease.
High five.
High five. Power of the potato.
Exactly, right? But that's, again, and the same thing, she had the same thing. It must have been a bad test the first time.
Yeah.
That was her go-to response. And I'm like, I'm detecting a pattern here,
Yeah, I know.
of responses.
But what a great thing for you to be somebody that she can see that a true, what's the right word I'm looking for? Example of this
Pioneer.
lifestyle, a pioneer. You're a trailblazer of healing from the inside out.
Right.
And I like to use the term healing from the inside out. And of course, all of us are impatient with, we want the weight loss now, 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 now. And we don't care what it costs, because we all have the psychological mindset that, well, we'll just eat better once we get the weight loss off. But then they never address the food addiction. They never address the physiological addiction, and they didn't address all of the bad eating habits. And then all the weight's back on by the time they rethink about it again. So that's where I'm going to plug us. The Starch Queens program is so awesome. So, Jeanne, our hour is up.
I know, but the education, I just got to say, every day, Monday through Friday, we provide an educational topic, something that's related to changing your health destiny. And what was the topic today, Nancy? I totally spaced out.
Label reading.
Label reading. You got to learn how to read labels. And then, I go through and I create a Google Doc, and that's your education. And I research the heck out of this and put all the information in there, find videos, everything. And then Nancy does this. I love this. She's just awesome. She puts her cell phone up on she's driving to work, and she's like, "Good morning, everybody. Hi." And she's talking to you as she's driving to work, I know.
It is safe.
I know, but it's amazing. I mean, obviously she's not sitting there texting
No. I have a very expensive mount that is hands-free, and I don't even touch the phone. And I go into the gas station, go live, and then I just, that's it.
But she talks to you about the topic of the day as she's driving to work, and it's phenomenal. I mean, and she just gets into your head. I mean, there's a reason why I call her the Queen of Hearts, because she just really pulls in life experiences, and she gets right to the heart of the matter.
Yep, the truth of the matter and the reality of the topic, and you get the facts, Jack.
And then we do Sunday nights. We have coaching calls, and then sometimes we'll throw in webinars, and all of that's there on the website for you to access. We've been doing this now since January, so we've got quite a Rolodex of stuff for you to watch.
It's wonderful. Yeah. I'll jump in real quick. Timmy is asking what we eat in a day. Kathy, what I'd like to do is direct you to our website. Go to starchqueens.net. Again, that's plural, starchqueens.net. Go up to the top and click on the link, and you can get a free day of Starch Queens recipes. It's going to cost you your email address. That's it. And we I think in 9 months that we've been doing this, we've sent 3 emails out, and I think it goes to everybody's spam folder. So you're not going to get too much information from us via email, but you will get a day of wonderful recipes that were developed by Jeanne and I, and that gives you a window into what we eat. But we eat really healthy, delicious food, and it heals our body.
Amazing.
I've lost 105 pounds. Jeanne's lost 100 pounds, and we're off all medications. I take nothing, and I've reversed thyroid disease, fatty liver syndrome, acne, polycystic ovarian syndrome, 260. My cholesterol was 268. Now it's below 140. What else have I done? Eczema's gone. Rosacea's gone. So that's what I talk about when we're healing from the inside out. And before that, I was on 2 types of rosacea medication, thyroid medication, steroid ointment for eczema. My doctor was wanting to put me on statins. So it works. I mean, Jeanne and I are living proof that this lifestyle reverses disease, and you lose weight and you feel great. So, all right, check us out. Our program is very affordable. It's fun, and you gain a wonderful foundation into a plant-based lifestyle.
And you get to go driving with Nancy.
And you can ride to work with me every morning, Monday through Friday. And sometimes I barely even talk about the topic, because we'll talk about other stuff that's important in a plant-based lifestyle. So our website is www.sqweightloss.com for a wonderful library of cooking videos and resources, go to starchqueens.net. Amazing website with cooking videos and links to all of our interviews, links to all of our hero plant-based doctors and plant-based pillars who we really truly respect and who have saved our lives. All right, everybody, we hope you have a wonderful week. We'll see you next Tuesday. And Jeanne, who's Dr. Mondo?
Ooh. Coming soon. Yeah, I know. Gold star. Dr. Mondo is coming on our show.
Yep.
We're trying to get going back and forth on scheduling dates, so we're very excited.
And we're going to be on his show.
I know, right?
Yep. So we're pretty excited about that. And again, the more people we can reach, if you can share this, the more people we can help. And that is our goal in life, is to help as many people as we can reach, learn the truth about how they can change their healthy destination.
Absolutely.
Night, everybody.
Good night, John Boy.
Night, Mary Ellen. Night, everybody. Thank you for joining in with us tonight. We love you and appreciate you.